Good afternoon. Good afternoon. You're here live with Eisen Summer on Eisen Summer Presents the Oaken. And today, as the title states, we're going to look at the Bible and see what it says, what God thinks of prosperity preachers. So today we'll be looking into the text, and we'll be to show exactly what God thinks, God's opinion on prosperity preaching and its practitioners. We'll be studying First Timothy chapter 6, verses 3 through 10. And I'll be reading today from the Amplified version of the Bible. And if you haven't yet, go ahead and hit that like button when you come in. Shalom, shalom, Lawrence, shalom. Good afternoon to you, brother. But if you haven't, hit that like button on the way in, and we'll get started here. Starting with First Timothy chapter 6, verse 3. If anyone teaches a different doctrine and does not agree with the sound words of our Lord Jesus Christ, and with the doctrine and teaching which is in agreement with godliness, meaning personal integrity, upright behavior, he is conceited and woefully ignorant, understanding nothing. He has a morbid interest in controversial questions and disputes about words, which produces envy, quarrels, verbal abuse, evil suspicions, and perpetual friction between men who are corrupted in mind and deprived of the truth, who think that godliness is a source for profit, meaning a lucrative money-making business. Withdraw from them. So those people who are these prosperity preachers who use it as a lucrative money-making business, you're supposed to withdraw from them. And I want to interject here to point out that asking questions to prove that the information given is for righteous intent and that the information is accurate, or to provide introspective understanding on how we should carry on in our everyday lives, is encouraged and wise in the eyes of God. It's only when it's done to sow threads of confusion that is seen as corrupt. Moving on with verse 6. But godliness is actually a source of great gain when accompanied by contentment. That contentment, which comes from a sense of inner confidence based on the sufficiency of God. Basically meaning that you feel that you have you feel that you've gained a lot in having everything that you need. You don't seek to desire for greed's sake just to have it so someone else can't have it. But what you have already is sufficient. Moving forward, verse 7. For we have brought nothing into this world, so it is clear we cannot take anything out of it either. But if we have food and clothing, with these we will be content. But those who are not financially ethical and crave to get rich with a compulsive, greedy longing for wealth, what I was talking about earlier, fall into temptation and a trap, and into many foolish, harmful desires that plunge people into ruin and destruction, leading to personal misery. Verse 10. For the love of money, that is the greedy desire for it, and the willingness to gain it unethically, is a root of all sorts of evil. And some, by longing for it, have wandered away from the faith and pierced themselves through and through with many sorrows. So it's saying here that money itself isn't inherently evil, but the love of money, which is the greedy desire for it and the willingness to gain it unethically, that in itself is evil. That is the evil. And those longing to have it that way, for those desires, those are the people that cause sorrows on themselves. They cause themselves to have many sorrows, and they just sow their own destruction because of it, because they're willing to do anything to anyone to gain it. And not only is it and so when you have these prosperity preachers who lead this lifestyle, They teach the same thing to the people who pretty much, in their congregation who follow them. What's good, Sir Abadayu and Jay Wolf? But yeah, they teach the same thing to these people who follow them. That's the problem. The money isn't the issue, but their reasons and their desires for having it and how they go about getting it. Having money because you need to have the things that you need there's nothing wrong with that. But trying to gain this money by any means necessary, no matter who it hurts and who you take out doing it, that is a problem. And we see that with these prosperity preachers who teach this and teach this mindset to the individuals that follow them. Because the fact is, like it said in verse 5, this message isn't, these messages and this information contained in the Bible, it's not supposed to be a lucrative money-making business to withdraw from people. I mean, there's nothing wrong with people supporting the cause, but you have people that are willingly using and desire to do something to extort and to extort fools who don't understand who these people truly are and what they represent. What's good, Ed Unchained? But that is the evil in itself. The act, not the money itself, but the people who use it to extort fools. And it makes me think of that question in Star Wars where Obi-Wan looked at Han and asked him, who's the more foolish, the fool or the one following the fool? So it goes to show you that, of course, the one following the fool is the more foolish. So that's why I have this content here to make you aware, that way you can question, to find if the information these people are giving you is actually for righteous intent. And if they teach you anything, or if they question you to provide introspective understanding on how you should carry on in your everyday life, these questions are encouraged by God, because that's what you're supposed to do. Because, like it says, we all know what a tree is by the fruit it bears, and the fruit that these prosperity preachers bear is rotten, and it's of no good to anyone. Well, that concludes the lesson for today. But I'll be opening up the panel here on the Barbershop Talk shortly, so you guys can migrate over there. But I just want to say peace to all. Thank you for coming out and listening, and just take all this information that we have to give here from the Barbershop Talk and from these short lessons here. Take them and apply them to your everyday lives, that you can use them and actually make them better. That way you won't be sowing threads of sorrow into your own life. That's all I have. Peace, everybody.